Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm really excited about this one. This became an idea to create, actually from my husband. I was like trying to brainstorm new ideas for how to help more people, and he's like, you should do this. And that is a kiddo nutrition class. And I want to do a podcast about it. This class is going to take place on Tuesday, which is January 28th. It's going to be the first of multiple, depending how it goes. But I'm really, really excited about it. So I want to explain kind of what that is, but I'm going to explain why it's so important to really tackle our kids' nutrition. I feel like it falls to the wayside because life is crazy and it's hard, and school and sports and life gets in the way, and we choose the thing that's easy too often. And that gets really poor habits built into our kiddos early on. And there's all kinds of things that are happening with our population due to the foods that we're eating. And I want to make sure that we put it to the forefront that it's really important to have our kiddos learning how to make better choices starting as soon as possible. So, a few things about like why this is so important to me, because trust me, it's definitely something we hit home. The cat just tried to crawl up my leg. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna kick the things out of the office. It's winter over yet? Okay, anyway. This is super important in my house as well because my kids are, they want to be athletes, they want to be strong, they want to be fast, they want to feel good, and they care about doing well in school, which is awesome. All these things are going to boil down to what we're eating, what they're eating on a consistent basis. And it's going to help us understand why kids are always so dang hungry or why they might have poor attitudes after certain things that they eat. It's just so interesting. So, as far as like the why behind everything, more kids are suffering now than ever before in our history. So, according to Dr. Casey Means in Good Energy, I love this book. It's been incredible. I have so many highlighted sections. She goes over in there that by age 18, 40% of all children will meet the criteria for a mental health disorder. That's almost 50%. That's almost half of our kids are going to struggle with a mental health disorder. That's not normal. And it should be something that you're furious about and trying to do anything you can to fix, because mental health is no joke, right? We want to avoid that if at all possible. And the fact that our kids are going through it and so many of them are diagnosed with that is just incredibly sad. And it does come down to our environment. It comes down to what we're eating. It comes down to what we're watching. We're getting into that another day, but all about food can make a big difference in their mental health capacity. Another point that she makes, by age 3 to 17, um, most have an anxiety or depression disorder at by ages 3 to 17, there's a increase that 29% between 2016 and 2020, right? So the range of 2016 and 2020, there's a 29% increase of kids between the ages of 3 and 17 that have had an anxiety or depression disorder. That is scary. Anxiety, it is all over everybody. The fact that my 10-year-old daughter, almost 11-year-old daughter, comes home from school and says that she feels anxious about stuff. Kids should not feel anxious right now. That should not be what is bothering them. They should be excited about, school and friends and sports and growing up and those things. They shouldn't be riddled with anxiety, or depression and sadness. That shouldn't be something that they struggle with, especially the fact that so much of an increase has happened in such a short span of time. Um, Physically, nearly 20% of children and adolescents in the United States between 2017 and 2020, it's only gotten worse since this time frame, are considered obese. So, leading to likely further more health issues along with their future. Like, that is really, really sad because with obesity, it's always a comorbidity, right? So obesity brings on heart disease, stroke, it brings on gout, it brings on more anxiety and depression, it brings on everything, right? So it's a comorbidity. And so there's no reason that our children, that 20% of them should be considered obese in our country at this point. That is due to just what our culture has thrown at us for foods. So it's just really important to bring that out. And I think that a lot of people will be able to make swaps and changes that will be applicable to their kids, to their families, to their lifestyles. That really won't be that hard. It just seems overwhelming to get started with because we're all so busy and we're all so tired that we feel like we can't make those changes, but we can, and it's imperative that we do. So, like a where to start, right? We'll make it a little bit easy. So, lead by example for one. Right? Our kids are going to do what we do. If we tell them not to have the candy bar and we go eat the candy bar, that's setting a pretty poor example. Now, if everybody's going to enjoy a candy bar, that's fine, but let's be lead by a better example and have that be like the one off, not have it be the regular every day, not have that be like not have that be their absolute normal, their afternoon snack every day. We need to be changing what that looks like. So lead by example. And number two, be willing to say no. I I realize that this is really hard. I say no to my kids like all the time. And it's not always fun. It is not always easy. And trust me, they are not always happy with that answer, but they're prepared to hear no more often than they're here ready to hear yes. And that applies to everything. And I think it's really important that we understand we need to say no to our kids sometimes. Just because they want to stop for ice cream on the way home from this or that every single time, you don't have to say yes every single time. There's got to be some boundaries in there. So be willing to say no sometimes. There's other things. So start with including a better quality option. In like an unlimited drawer in the pantry or the fridge, that can be really, really helpful. So I know a lot of people have kind of set it up. The kids have like their drawer in the fridge. They know where they have like really good quality snacks towards like the pantry or shelves, that kind of thing. Um, and they know that they can kind of have those almost at free reign. So, fresh fruits, fresh veggies. Do your kids want to munch down on some raw carrots? Probably not. Some do, and that's great. But other things can be in that drawer. It could be actually, I'm going to go through some examples for some good swaps here in a minute. So just know that there are options that we can throw into that drawer, that are going to make it a lot easier for you to make some changes. But instead of necessarily removing everything that they love, right? The Twinkies, right? That's probably a poor example who eats Twinkies anymore, but like, Twinkies or the little Hostess cupcakes or the candies or the pretzels, right? Instead of removing everything, why not start having them be required to include something else alongside of that snack? That will help a lot with helping them make better choices. Specifically, protein sources alongside those snacks are going to make a really, really big difference over time. And here's why. If our kids are eating more protein, that's going to help them fill up, right? So if your kid is like a snack monster and they want a snack every 20 minutes and they're always just like fussy or hangry or whatever, it's because they're probably eating mostly carbohydrates and honestly a lot of added sugars. And when we do that, that's not going to keep them full for very long. It's going to give them a blood sugar spike and then a crash. And when the blood sugar crashes, our body is engineered to want more energy, so it makes them want more of those things. Whereas if we have protein, it'll help keep them fuller longer. It'll help digest all the food that they eat alongside that protein a little bit slower, which will help balance out that blood sugar, spike and crash. It'll keep it more even, which will help a lot so that they don't necessarily have as much of that hangriness, as many cravings, and as many requests for more things. And it'll help a lot. So, something that's really simple, you could easily like say that they love Hostess cupcakes. Okay, why not have Hostess cupcake on top of a thing of vanilla Greek yogurt, right? Easy. 20 grams of yogurt or 20 grams of protein in that yogurt. They get to have their Hostess cupcake too. They have it on top of that. It helps keep them fuller longer. It's like a bigger treat and it's going to keep them from wanting more of those snacks later. And then when don't have to buy as many of those snacks all the time, which helps too. So there's that. Try to find swaps for things that they like that are dye-free, made with less ingredients. So other things to kind of keep in like your drawer as far as proteins go, and then I'll go over some like snack food items that we've made swaps for that are really helpful. So proteins are kind of hard with kids. Like my kids have different preferences too, but things that we always have available that they both really seem to kind of go toward. I have like these little meat and cheese combo packs. It's like a little meat stick and then a little like cheese block thing in there. They love to do that. That's going to be great. It's going to be a good source of protein and fats. It'll help keep them fuller longer. There's really no blood sugar spikes in there, not near as bad as, like a pure carb, like a pretzel or something like that would be. Greek yogurt is more of Shay's go-to. She likes the Greek yogurt, where Sky is more of my cottage cheese man. He'll sit there and just eat spoonfuls of cottage cheese and then he'll have his pretzels and he's happy right there. It works well. So he likes to do more of that cottage cheese side of things. We also really like the Greek yogurt drinks. There's some that are better than others ingredient wise, but look for ones that have a lot of protein in them. That's going to help. They often throw those in their lunch boxes too, which is super helpful. That way I know they're getting anywhere from 15 to 30 grams of protein at lunch at school, which is imperative for them to do well at school too and be able to think through their decisions and learn, pay attention. All of that is super great. There's also, so Just Ingredients muffins is one that I really love. My kids like them too, especially the snickerdoodle ones. Super, super simple. It comes in like a muffin mix. You throw in an egg, some butter, and some milk, and then you bake them up, and it's so simple. My kids will throw those in their lunch boxes or have them for breakfast. They'll have them as a snack. They're really, really easy. So there's that. You could also have string cheese in there. There's a lot of options to have that are kid-friendly, protein-rich options that are even just for snacks. So if you keep that stocked, that's going to help you a lot in the long run, and help them a lot in the long run. Now, as far as other things to kind of try and find for swaps that are dye-free and made with less ingredients. So some of the like brands, and I'm not going to name all of them obviously, but some of the brands that we've made swaps for. So Simple Mills. I really enjoy Simple Mills. I think they're a really good quality as far as like um, ingredients go. They have some sunflower oil in some of the products, but not a lot, especially in comparison to other like really similar product options. It's way cleaner. There's no dyes or anything like that in any of their stuff, which is great. A lot of their stuff is made with like a nut flour, which is really, really helpful. They have everything from like chocolate chip cookies that the kids love. They have like an Oreo Nutter Butter replacement option. They have muffin mixes, pancake mixes. They even have like pita chips and these little like pizza. They think they call them Pop'ems or something. Rob even loves those. I like to put those on top of some cottage cheese. Delicious. Um, there's a lot of options, right? So Simple Mills is one that I really enjoy. I find that pretty much everywhere at any stores that I go to. They have all kinds of things, crackers to sweets that you can kind of utilize. Once again, we don't want to pig out on these, but you can easily have these as some of your swaps to have with a protein source, and that's going to help your kids stay a lot fuller, a lot longer, and they're going to have less of those crappy ingredients that so many of our regular foods that we're having right now do. So Simple Mills is a good one. I also do like Magic Spoon. I have a box out here. So again, they're not perfect. Okay, they do have some sunflower oil in here. They're not absolutely 100% clean, but they do have a substantial amount of protein in their cereals. They also have a granola and bars. I don't represent them or anything. This is just stuff that I found that works well for my family. Once again, we don't have that every day, but if we have an early basketball game or Life is Crazy or something like that in the morning, the kids will have a bowl of that cereal with milk, which is fine. At least they're getting a protein source out of it. That's how I'm looking at that. And there's a lot cleaner ingredients in there than our typical cereals. And then the bars work too. There's like 15 grams of protein in their bars. It works as an option for that fill-in, not an everyday piece, but an option for a fill-in. I also really love the lesser evil popcorn stuff that they have. They have like cheese balls and popcorn, way fewer ingredients, way cleaner ingredients, than any other option I have found for like a pre-done popcorn or cheese ball. And Skylar is absolutely in love with the cheese balls. Shay loves the popcorn. I love the popcorn. Delicious options there. I really like Giggles. I don't because I don't like sour stuff, but the kids love sour stuff. They love things like Skittles and stuff. and they're full of dyes, right? We know that Skittles are full of dyes and things like that, and it's just not really worth it. So I've switched to those, and we still don't have like there's still a candy, there's still a bunch of added sugar in there, but there's no dyes. So it makes me feel a little bit better about them having some of those on occasion, as opposed to, straight up Skittles that are full of all the things. I also really like the brand Yum Earth. They have a lot of gummy type options. Again, not something you want to have every single day, all the time. I'm not going to say like pour the box of Yum Earth fruit snacks into your kid's lunchbox, but it is a good option that is dye-free that can help replace some of those other things that are in your cabinet right now with a little bit better options. Again, have all of these things alongside a protein source. It's going to help keep your kid fuller longer and make them feel like they're not missing out on some of like the more regular go-to snacks that a lot of kids are eating. So those are some of the things as far as like how that I love to cover. So now some key tips to go along with this. Make this relatable to them, right? If we just put down the hammer, we put down the law that this is what we're going to do, your kid's going to get pissed. And it's okay if they do, but to give yourself a little bit less of a headache, let's make it relatable to them. Make it exciting to them. Food becomes their power. It becomes their energy. It becomes their thinking, their thoughts. It becomes their mood. It becomes how well they interact with other people and how good they feel about themselves. Food is so incredible what it does for us. And if we put that kind of energy and excitement into our kids' minds about how fun food can be and how it doesn't have to be boring to be good for us, I think that they will absolutely be excited about making a better choice. And I know that for a fact because my kids make better choices. Now, don't get me wrong, my kids still really love, that slice of birthday cake. They still really love nerd clusters. They still really love, certain things. But even the other day, Shay came home from a friend's house. She's like, I feel so sick. And I was like, okay, what did we eat, honey? And she's like, well, we had pancakes and eggs this morning. I'm like, okay, like eggs, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with some pancakes here and there. But then the rest of the day, they ate Pringles and nerd clusters. I'm like, well, that's probably why you feel like crap. Let's drink a bunch of water. Let's have some protein, have some substantial, like quality carbohydrates and fats. You're going to be fine. And she was feeling great within an hour or two later. But kids know they can be very intuitive with their body and what they're wanting and what works well and what doesn't. So if we make it relatable to them and make it fun and exciting, they're going to want to make that better choice. They're going to want to feel better. They're going to want to be in a better mood because who likes being in a bad mood? Literally nobody. So, like the food choices that the kids make, they get to be in control of and they get to feel better doing it. And that's like the next point. Make it their choice. So, we I think I have a story from when I was a kid. I'll share that with you. It's kind of random, but when I was a kid, my mom piled a whole bunch of like sweet peas on my plate. I hated sweet peas. Hated them. That was the only option we had. We were going to eat that and that was what it was, and I literally would shove my mouth full of sweet peas and then I would walk into the bathroom, which was literally 3 steps away because it's an old farmhouse. It was built like a hallway, and I would spit all the peas in the toilet and then I would come back out and I would do it again. And it really set myself up for hating peas for like the next 30 years. I recently found out within the last 5 years that I, in fact, do like peas as long as they're mixed in with other stuff. I wouldn't even try anything that had peas in it before that. You guys, so give it a little bit of their choice. I'm not saying you have to make a separate dinner for your kids or anything like that every night, but maybe give them some options when you're going through the plans for what you're going to make. Maybe you say, do you want peas or do you want broccoli? Or do you want, spaghetti squash or do you want zucchini squash? Like, what do you feel like? And give them a little bit of their choice. I personally prep multiple proteins, multiple vegetables, and multiple like starches, like potatoes, every single week. And then I also make my sourdough bread. And so the kids have options. I'm like, okay, what vegetable do you want tonight? What meat do you want tonight? Do you want sourdough? Do you want potatoes? Really easy, throw it on their plate, they're ready to rock and roll. So give them some choices, and that comes from you leading by example and having a little bit of a game plan ahead of time. It works so well. And give them some choice in their unlimited pantry, in their unlimited, drawer in the fridge. They get home from school and they are hungry? Okay, string cheese, vegetables, some fruits, like go hog wild in there, give yourself what you want in there. And then if you want something else, we can talk about adding in like that Simple Mills cookie or some giggle, Skittles after that, the little Skittle things. But first, let's have this, right? Let's not jump right into the Hostess cupcakes. That's not going to make a lot of sense. So give them some options. When they get to make the choice, that's going to help them follow through. And it's just like our husbands, you guys. Like, I love my husband. He's not even so much like this, but I've seen other ones where it has to become their idea for them to want to follow through doing something. So make it sound like it's the kid's idea. It'll help a lot. Give it some time, you guys. So something that's super cool is the gut microbiome actually changes every 3 to 7 days, meaning that the little microbes that are in your gut that help you kind of like keep being flourishing and living and digesting and all the good things, it actually change over every 3 to 7 days based on what we're eating and what we're consuming, what we're going through. And so the more often that we don't have the dyes, we don't have the preservatives, that we don't have the junk foods, that we do have the nutritious foods, the stuff that's full of protein and micronutrients and all the good stuff. Your gut will actually change over that 3 to 7 days and start to prefer the good things. So your kids might actually start requesting things like strawberries and Greek yogurt, right? Instead of requesting Pringles. Like it's awesome. It can actually happen. I am telling you, it can actually happen. And so that's a really cool piece that a lot of people don't know about. Stay consistent. Like I said before, like be lenient sometimes. Yes, your kids are still going to enjoy some pizza or some candy or some cake here and there, and that's fine. What I'm suggesting is that it just doesn't become their every single day, all day situation. Just for an example, Skylar, the first 2 weeks of school, he's a hot lunch kid. He loves having hot lunch, but he would come home and he would be like, balls to the wall, bouncing everywhere, couldn't finish a full sentence, couldn't tell me about his day, couldn't do anything. We have now reduced his hot lunch opportunity to once a week. He gets to look through the menu, pick out his one day a week, and he can do a hot lunch one day a week. She has the same thing, but she often just chooses to pack. Um, Otherwise, he packs his lunch, and he is a totally different kid when he is not consuming the school lunches. And I'm not harping on school lunches all the way around. I think a lot of those people try. I think they kind of have their hands tied as far as what they get to choose. We can jump into that whole situation another day. But by simply changing what he's eating midway through his day, majority of the time, he is like a new human. His scores have gone up. He's reading better. He's excellent at math, right? Like all these things fell into place. He's become a better athlete. He listens better. We hardly ever have any meltdowns or tantrums or anything like that at all. Kids are very respectful and hardworking. And yes, that's from time and that's how Rob and I are, but it's from good food choices too. And so it makes a lot of sense. So stay consistent. Just have the other things, the treat type foods be the one-offs. Don't have them be your everyday. So that's a big piece. And all of that to say, that's why I created this kids nutrition class that I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, and I'm so excited about it. The first one is going to be this coming Tuesday, January 28th at 7 p.m. Central. It will be recorded, so if you can't make it onto the live call or something happens or you want to review it later, everything will be recorded and emailed out to everybody who purchases it. It's only $5 per household, you guys. So if you have multiple kids, both parents want to jump on, whatever the case is, $5, you all have access to it. It's super easy. Um, let's see, it's for the parents and the kids, right? So if you and your kiddo want to both jump on, that is ideal because Shay's going to help me run it. My 10, almost 11-year-old is going to help me run the nutrition class. So it's going to be from my point of view as a parent and coach, and it's going to be from her point of view as a kiddo who lives the lifestyle and why she does things the way that she does them and why she makes the choices the way that she makes them, why she puts the food combinations together that she puts together because there's some weird stuff that the kids enjoy, but it works for me if it works for them. And she can make it relatable to your kiddos, which is super cool. I am also going to make it very fun and relatable, interactive with the kids so they can raise their hands or they can unmute and ask something or have you type something into the chat for them if they aren't comfortable. But I'm going to have it be really fun and interactive for them so that they learn a lot. They have a lot of good takeaways. They love to have these fun facts. I would say it's best going to be for ages between like 7 or 8 to like 13, 14. So late elementary through middle school-ish would be a really good age range. challenge to kind of pull all that together. So if your kids have been talking about food, if they're concerned about calories, if they don't understand like what good quality is in food or how to make food choices, anything like that, I am happy to go over this with them. Tell them to bring their questions with them because there's going to be an open Q&A at the end as well where they can ask Shay and I questions and we can, put all the fires out at once and everybody can leave with like this better opportunity and clear mindset put together for them. It's gonna be full of fun facts, so there's gonna be a lot of cool things that they're gonna learn that you're gonna learn that maybe you wouldn't have known otherwise, that they can go to school the next day and tell their friends. Like, did you know that the brain uses this many calories when we eat it? And, this is what really fuels us to do better. And this is why we feel like, junk when we eat this. Like, the kids will be really excited. And I know, like, my daughter's been educating her classmates on protein importance since she was 4. So, I mean, it's definitely an opportunity. Kids love what you love. And if you're passionate about making them healthier and making your household healthier, well, then they're going to be really excited to do that too. And it'll just really set them up for a really good life and health in the future. So I am thrilled to bring that to you, and I tried to make it as affordable as possible. So definitely take a look at that. It is linked below in the show notes if you guys do want to jump on that. Like I said, I'm planning to do more calls. I don't know what the future dates will be yet. This first one is on the books. But then depending how it goes, how you guys like it, then I will absolutely do more. But yeah, that is the game plan there. So I'm hopeful that you guys got something out of this, that maybe you have some good steps to take to get started. And then if you have any questions on the Kiddo Nutrition course or Youth Nutrition course, I think is what the official name is, or if your kids have questions or anything at all, get a hold of me. We are happy to help at Team NH Fitness and looking forward to see you on the next podcast as well as hopefully on Tuesday night for the first youth nutrition course. So we'll talk to you later. Have a great rest of your day.